What's going on, everybody? It is Luke Beller with the Sideline Scoop, and today I wanted to break down some of these Packers injuries and sort of talk about how it could affect us in our game tomorrow versus the Houston Texans. And so the first guy I sort of want to look at who is on the injury report is Kevin King, and it came out that he is doubtful to play on Sunday versus this Houston Texans team. And, you know, Kevin King was a guy who last week was also out, and Josh Jackson came in to replace him. And if we sort of look at how well Kevin King has done this season, up to this point, he hasn't been amazing when it comes to, you know, ranking against every other cornerback in the NFL. Of course, Jair Alexander has been the best cornerback in the NFL up to this point. He is still the highest graded cornerback with a PFF ranking of 90.6. So, of course, he is going to be here. Jair is going to be on the team on Sunday to face off against this Texans team. But it seems that Kevin King may miss a second straight game. And so it looks like Josh Jackson will probably be his replacement if Kevin King cannot go. And so we did see a little bit of Josh Jackson last week when Kevin King was down. He allowed 4 receptions on 6 targets. One of those was a touchdown, so he didn't do great. It wasn't a terrible performance from him, but definitely we could have seen a lot better from him. And if we sort of take a look at how he compares sort of to Kevin King, so we take a look at Josh Jackson's PFF grade up to this point. He has a 43.3 grade, while Kevin King, as I said, has a 57.1 grade. So Josh Jackson is definitely a downgrade to Kevin King. So one thing sort of take into consideration is we are facing a very dominant Houston Texans offense. So if we take a look at Deshaun Watson, he's been one of the best quarterbacks so far this year. He's thrown for 300 plus yards in 3 straight games. He threw for 3 touchdowns in week 5 and 4 touchdowns last week in week 6. So we're really going to need these cornerbacks to step up and cover these guys who Deshaun Watson will be throwing to. Of course, we have Fuller, who is their number 1 option, and he has topped 100 yards in 3 out of 5 games this season, and he's a touchdown in 4 games in a row. So Will Fuller is a guy who we're really going to need to stop on Sunday. And then if we also take a look at their second best weapon, Brandon Cooks, he started off a little bit slow this year, but in the past couple weeks, he's really started to do much better. Week 5, he had 8 receptions, 161 yards, and 1 touchdown. In week 6, he had 9 receptions, 68 yards, and another touchdown. So obviously, they have 2 very, very good wide receivers, and considering Kevin King may be out, Josh Jackson may have to cover one of these guys. So that is one area I think that, you know, I'm a little worried about. So I'm hoping Kevin King can play in Sunday's game. But, you know, this offense is just very, very talented, and we are really going to need these cornerbacks to come in and step up. And then another guy who is also going to be doubtful for this Sunday matchup versus the Texans is Darnell Savage. He has a quad injury, and so, you know, it's doubtful that he will play. But, you know, if he's out, it's likely that Raven Green will come in to take his place. So obviously not good to have, you know, a few of these defensive guys who are very, very important to this team out, especially when we're facing such a high-powered offense. Of course, Aaron Rodgers should be able to move this ball on this Texans defense that has not really been that great this season, but at the same time, we still need this defense to hold up. So probably one of the biggest injuries this week is David BAKHTIARI. And I know I talked earlier in the week sort of about his situation and how, considering he had started 50 consecutive games, I sort of assumed they would just sort of rest him during the week, but then bring him in on Sunday. But unfortunately today, right before I filmed this video, came out that he will be out tomorrow versus the Houston Texans. So considering David BAKHTIARI is probably, you know, one of the best tackles, if not the best tackle in football, that is definitely going to hurt us tomorrow against this Houston Texans team. And considering last week, one of the areas where we really struggled was on the offensive line. That Bucs team brought so much pressure against Aaron Rodgers, which definitely, you know, didn't bode well for us last game. So it seems that either Rick Wagner or Elgton Jenkins could play at that left tackle position. Elgton Jenkins may move from left guard to left tackle, but honestly, we don't really know yet. We'll sort of have to see probably tomorrow during game time. But even though Rick Wagner is, you know, not as good as David BAKHTIARI, he still has been, you know, a pretty solid tackle when you sort of compare him to the rest of the league. He ranks 16th in PFF's grade. So, you know, not the best, but still, you know, he's not a bad tackle. So, of course, those are the 2 guys who are doubtful and the 1 guy who is going to be out. And then there are a lot more guys on the injury report. I'll cover a little bit right here. So, of course, Tyler Ervin is going to be out in this game. That came out, I guess, I don't know, yesterday. And, you know, he's a guy that the Packers have utilized a lot in the first few weeks, sort of using him in motion, you know, jet sweeps, those kinds of things, sort of drawing the defense, I guess sort of distracting them, and that definitely worked out a lot, so it's unfortunate we're not going to see him. And then, of course, Aaron Jones is questionable with that calf injury. I made an entire video breaking that down yesterday, so I'm not going to go in depth on his injury today, but I'll link that down below if you want to see like a 5-minute video breaking down sort of that scenario. And then defensive lineman Tyler Lancaster is out, and so it looks like we called up some guy from the practice squad. I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now, but I think he's a defensive lineman. He's going to come in, so that makes sense considering Lancaster is out. Other guys who are questionable, we have Montravius Adams is questionable. Corey Linsley apparently hurt himself in practice in the past few days, so now he is questionable. Hopefully he will play. If he's down as well as BAKHTIARI, that's definitely not good for our offensive line. And then Preston Smith is also questionable, and Robert Tonyan is questionable. So lots of Packers injuries this week. It seemed that, after the bye we'd be healthy, had some time to rest. Devontae Adams had time to rest, but now it seems that somehow, right after our bye week, everyone decides to go and get injured. So, that's never good news. So that is all I wanted to cover in today's video. Just break down the injuries and sort of how it could affect us tomorrow against the Houston Texans. But thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you smash the like button as always. And if you've yet to subscribe and you want to see some more Packers content, feel free to subscribe as well. I just want to say thank you too for everyone who has subscribed in the past few days. Gained 80 subscribers in the past 4 or 5 days. So anyone who is new, just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for coming along and subscribing. But that's going to be all for today's video. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.